Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Cedar Falls Board of Education. With that, the actions taken this evening will focus on our students and their achievement. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved by Susie. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Susan. Any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda?
I did notice on the open enrollment that we continue to not take any open enroll students unless they're continuation students. And I believe we've had approximately 20 that we could have taken in, and times 8,000, that's 160,000. That's 5 classroom teachers, and that's spread all over the whole district. And I remind the board that we lived on open enrollment for 20 years, and I understand why we decided not to accept new open enrollment students because of overcapacity, but hopefully next fall that problem will be solved and we can move on and start doing that again. And I did notice in the outflowing, you know, we always lose on outgoing open enrollment too, so that didn't stop.
Thank you, Jim, for those comments. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to item C on the agenda, public comment. I've had none.
Neither have I.
Okay. Item D, Secretary's financial report. Mr.
Okay,
Nisker.
we want to pull up the financials for the month of July. There we go. And it is the start of the new fiscal year, and so we'll pull up the monthly report. You can see in the general fund for the month of July, we took in about $278,000. Not a lot. That's real typical for the month of July. It's a pretty small amount for revenue in July. And then you can see our expenditures of just under $4.3 million as we continue to pay our staff during the summer months. That's the primary reason for that. So our ending fund balance of $6,665,996, and you can see where that compares to where it was a year ago. One of the differences why there is such a large spread between the amount in July of 2017 and July of 2016 is because we received the first installment of the TLC payment last year. We received that entire amount, which is approximately $1.5 million in July. So that was an anomaly that we had last year. We talked about that a year ago. And so this year you're seeing a more true reflection of what our cash balance is.
And so from a timing standpoint, Doug, when we'll get that TLC payment?
TLC payments this year will be made as the same as our regular state foundation aid payments. So we'll receive the first payment in October and then the last payment in June of 2018.
Okay.
Okay. In the management fund, pull that up here, you can see a very, very quiet month, $2,500 in. The $544,900 out, that was our payment for our liability, property, workers' compensation, crime premium for the year. There'll be a cleanup payment that'll be made in September for the audit that we traditionally will have a workman's compensation audit to check the actual payrolls paid versus what we estimated they would be. And that cleanup amount will be taken care of here in September, but that's the big chunk of the expenses in the management fund for the year. In the capital projects fund, you can see we had interest received of just a little over $9,100, and then that $1.49 million payment was all for the Aldrich Elementary School project. So you can see our ending fund balance is $27.826 million. Statewide 1 cent local option sales tax, you can see revenue and expenditure there. We had one small expenditure out, and then you'll see the transfer into our debt service fund as we start to build that amount to transfer for the debt service payments that are paid for through the revenue bonds that the district has sold. So our ending fund balance of $7,526,000 in round numbers, and you can see where that compares to from where it was a year ago. And I would also note that you can see the restricted and unrestricted on the amounts on the right now, but I would remind the board that basically all of the unrestricted is designated for the current 3 elementary projects that we have going. Physical plant and equipment levy, revenue of $81,000 for the month, and then expenditures of $481 as we're going through our summer remodeling projects, both at Cedar Heights, the Robinson Dresser baseball field, and some other small projects across the district. And you can see our ending balance of $3,640,000 is pretty similar to where we were a year ago at $3,353,000. Debt service levy, as we're starting a new year, you can see we had $75 in interest, and there's that transfer in of the $251,000. So you can see our actual ending balance of $251,522, and very similar to where we were 1 year ago. Student activity fund, summer months are usually pretty calm, so you can see a little bit of revenue, 27.8 in, and then expenditures of just a little over 74,000. So our ending fund balance of 555,000, a little bit down from where we were this time a year ago, but like I said, summer months are usually pretty quiet in the student activity fund. Trust and agency account, again, these are dollars that are given to the district and held as a trust for other ancillary programs that supports the school district. And you can see the revenue and expenditures for that for the month, the ending balance of just over $273,000. There we go. Student activity, food service account, very little activity in the month of July, a little bit of revenue and interest in, and then expenses. We do have salaries that we continue to pay during the summer months for some of our employees, and then also as they're starting to gear up for purchasing supplies and other items for the start of the new school year. Obviously, the student coffee shop fund, no revenue, just one small bill that was paid here in July. And in River Hills Consortium, you can see the tuition dollars that were paid in for the consortium, and then the expenditures out. And right now you'll see a fund balance of $564,000, and then that will be expended out here in the, you'll see that for the month of August claim report when we do that next month. Again, the idea with the River Hills Consortium, we're just a fiscal agent for that. So once you do the transfers in and transfers out, they'll have a zero balance. And you'll notice that as we go through the new school year. And with that, I would entertain any questions from the board.
Any questions for Doug? Hearing none, then the Secretary's financial report will be placed on file for audit. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Item E on the agenda is communications. I have none. Anyone else?
I guess the only communication that I would have is at your place there is a yearbook, and we want to thank Mr. Brian Winkle for that. They do a tremendous job each and every year, and certainly they always like to have those distributed to each of the board members. So thank you for Mr. Winkle.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item F, approval of the board policies, first of 2 readings. Dr. Pattee.
Yes. Within the board packet, you'll see that we have a few of our 400 series policies that we needed to update. There are 11 total that we are asking for the approval of first of 2 readings this evening. We had feedback from our policy committee on these, and certainly these policy updates are based on the new Iowa code requirements that came out of this last legislative session. Now that we have had that finalized and we're able to review all these policies, we are now back in alignment with Iowa code based on those changes. So I won't go over each of those 11 board policies, but you'll see that things that are added in are included in red, things that are now recommended to be deleted are stricken out. I don't think there's anything substantial in there that changes anything that we currently do by any means, but again, they align us now back with Iowa code from those new changes.
Thank you, Dr. Pattee. Do I have a motion to approve the first reading of the 400 series?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
I just want to say, as I always do, thank you to Adrian and Dan and Pam and Doug and Andy for all the work they put into doing these. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes work in getting these aligned with Iowa code. And so thank you I've been on the policy committee for a long time and I really appreciate all the work you've done.
And thanks to our policy committee too, because I know it takes a lot of time to read through them and review them and update them. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Susan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to item G on the agenda, approval of substantial completion of the Aldrich Elementary grading package.
What you have in front of the packet tonight is the final expenses for the grading portion of the Aldrich Elementary School, and if we want to bring those up on the screen. You can see that we originally awarded that contract to Mackinac Corporation out of Des Moines for $406,500, and you can also see our professional design budget, and we also budgeted some other miscellaneous expenditures as well. So our total budget was just over $459,000. Final bill from Mackinac will be $7,180 less than the $406,000, as we had some allowance money built into the project that we in the end did not need. And then you can see that we had some testing that we needed to do to make sure compaction was taken care of appropriately on the project. We were required to do a traffic as well as an environmental study on the project, and you can see those amounts as well as some miscellaneous printing, postage, and other items. So our total contingencies, other expenses, along with the design fees from the architect, we ended up at $451,460, and so we actually came in just under $7,600 on our budget.
Thank you, Doug. Do I have a motion to approve the grading package?
So moved. Or does it have to be read?
Oh, it's me.
Oh, sorry.
I move that the Cedar Falls Community School District Board of Education accept as complete the 2017 Aldrich Elementary Grading Project. All claims for materials furnished, labor performed, and/or services provided on this contract must be filled within the next 30 days.
Thank you, Susie. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Not really a question on this, just a kind of a general question as far as our timeline goes. Weather, I guess, has been fantastic, so are we ahead of time, ahead of schedule? That's a cautious statement to make in any construction project, but.
Yes, right now, everything looks very good for timeline. We're ahead of schedule, barring anything that is unknown that might come up. They are very hopeful and optimistic that everything will be enclosed hopefully before the snow flies, which is faster and quicker than they anticipated. Certainly the weather's been very cooperative. I think the site drains much quicker than they anticipated as well, with just the subsurface and the way that it's sloped and graded, which is what we approved this evening. So even when we do get some heavy rains, the site drains extremely quick. So that's been very beneficial as well. So knock on wood, we're doing well.
The caveat in there is that we don't want snow flying next week will kind of mess things up. But,
I know, it is Iowa, so.
yes,
That is true.
But I think we're looking at, if we can get through November, we'll be in great shape.
And we've got the webcam still up, so people can look at that. And then if people want to drive by, what's kind of the best road? Because I know not all the roads are completed there. What's the best way to be able to just look and see the construction?
Really, just go to the end of Eric Road. The contractors would ask you not to go onto the gravel portion of that. There's a lot of heavy equipment moving in and out of there, both not only for our project, but for the development, the housing development that's taking directly south of that. But they certainly can drive to the end of Eric Road. They could probably turn around in the gravel right at the end, but you can see it very well. And then also, if you want to, and don't ask me the name of the street, but if you go down Eric Road and take the first right and go up to the top of the hill, you can kind of see it across from there as well.
It's called Ironwood.
Ironwood.
Thank you
Ironwood,
for that.
if you stop at the top.
It's going to really be something special when we get done with it. At least that's our hope.
It's pretty.
Similar to what we said last meeting, we encourage people to go out to the southwestern side of town if you've not been out there recently and just see the expansion, the growth, the homes that are being built. It's really exciting to see. One step backwards, our webcam right now is down out there at the building site. And they just put the roofing structure and the roofing membrane on top of the gymnasium and the cafeteria where that camera was at. So we're not sure if that was damaged or maybe the line was cut, so we need to redo that. So if somebody goes to that webcam site within the last 2 days, it has not been working, but we'll get that corrected.
Thank you. Right, good. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
I really only have 2 items that are listed on the agenda, but one additional item, I guess, that I'll add. September 25th is our organizational meeting of the board. September 12th are the board election dates. Our next board meeting is on September 11th, so we'll have that meeting with our current board. The new board will be seated on the September 25th organizational meeting date. Start of the school year, it's been a tremendous start to the school year. We started with all students on this past Thursday. Tremendous weather, people coming back in good spirits, and certainly with all of our staff kickoffs the last week, it went extremely well. We can't thank our parents enough, our community enough, just for the welcoming atmosphere that's always created as we start the school year, so thank you for that. The last item I have is I'm going to meet with our student board representative this week, actually on Wednesday morning. So the hope is that Arlo Heddle will be with us on the September 11th board meeting to provide the first update to us. So FYI.
Good. Okay. Any other questions for Andy? Hearing none. Moving on to questions, comments, and concerns from the board.
I guess my one question, not a concern by any means, but just a comment, I guess, as well. August are typically slow months as far as agenda items on the board agenda, so again, we apologize for that. We always usually list one as if necessary, but just the way that the grading package fell and the way that the financials fell, we knew we had to have both of them, but we apologize for that since they were both pretty short meetings, and typically in years past they would be combined into one meeting, but it was just kind of the awkwardness of the calendar this year.
I guess I'd have one comment. You've given us an update on the 2 other elementary projects. One's getting ready, and the other one is, as you drive by, is at Orchard Hill is proceeding. I've driven by the baseball field, and that is a major project. And I see what our grading out at Aldrich was. We're moving a lot of dirt and doing it right. Equivalent of 3 feet the whole field, putting down new drainage, putting down new irrigation, and building a whole new field and doing it right. The first time possibly was not as accurate, but this should last another 35 plus years. So
Generations.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Anything else before the board? All right, hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
move adjourned.
It's been moved and seconded. Second by Susie. Susan. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.